Went to crash my ex's wedding, took the wrong exit. Now I'm stuck in a mansion with a man who thinks I'm his fiancée. I wasn't supposed to be there. Not at that exit, not on that road, not in that dress. And definitely not in that mansion. My name is Riley Jameson, and I'd like to think I'm a level-headed woman. A corporate lawyer in Chicago, respected by peers, driven, composed. But heartbreak does strange things. 3 weeks ago, my ex-boyfriend, Caleb Morgan, sent me a wedding invitation. The nerve. After 3 years together, he ghosted me during a business trip to San Francisco. No explanation. No goodbye. Just silence. Now he's marrying someone else. And he wants me to come see it. So yes, I did something stupid. I drove across 2 states with the intention of crashing that wedding. Not in the dramatic, I object, way. I wanted closure. Maybe some chaos. Maybe revenge. But somewhere around the border of Indiana, I missed the exit. My GPS glitched, classic outdated rental car tech. It rerouted me through endless back roads, winding deeper into some countryside I didn't recognize. By the time the thunderstorm hit, my reception vanished and my phone was toast. That's when I saw the mansion. A sprawling estate tucked into the woods like it had been carved out of a dream. Ivy crawling up stone pillars, Gothic windows flickering with warm candlelight. I pulled into the gravel drive, thinking maybe I could call for help, or at least find some shelter until the storm passed. Before I could knock, the heavy front door creaked open. "Riley," a man's voice said, surprised, no, relieved. I stared, water dripping from my hair, completely disoriented. A tall man in a dark sweater stood before me. Handsome in a disheveled, literary kind of way. Thick glasses, hair too long. But it was his eyes, piercing and cautious, that froze me. "You're early," he said, pulling me inside. "But thank God. I thought you'd changed your mind." He hugged me before I could speak. I froze against him, confused. I think there's been a mistake." "You're shaking," he interrupted. "Let's get you into something dry first. Dinner's almost ready." My words got swallowed by warmth. The fireplace roared. The scent of rosemary and roast chicken filled the air. Everything in that place screamed comfort and wealth. He led me down a hallway into a bedroom. Laid out on the bed was a white dress. Simple, elegant, and eerily my size. "I know it's not traditional," he said from the doorway. "But I wanted to see you in it before tomorrow." I couldn't wait. "Tomorrow? Wait. I think you've mistaken me for someone else," I said finally, heart pounding. His brow furrowed. "You're Riley Jameson." "Yes, but—" "You agreed to meet me here," he said slowly, voice tense. "You said we'd keep it private, away from your life in the city, that you were ready for this." Something about the way he looked at me, like he knew me, intimately, like we had a past. And the strange thing, my name. How could he know my name? Before I could argue further, thunder shook the walls. "You look pale," he said, stepping closer. "Are you having second thoughts again?" "No. I mean yes. I mean, who are you?" He hesitated. "I'm Nathaniel Quinn." The name hit me like a dart. Nathaniel Quinn, the eccentric billionaire tech recluse. The one who disappeared from the public eye after a nervous breakdown 5 years ago. Rumors said he lived in seclusion. Said he was delusional. Said he never got over his fiancée vanishing the night before their wedding. But that wasn't me. Or was it? I looked at the dress again. The initials on the tag, RJ. Was this a case of mistaken identity, or something else? That's when he smiled faintly and said, "We'll go over everything after dinner. I'll explain it all. I promise." But something in his voice chilled me. It wasn't relief anymore. It was calculation. And I wasn't sure I wanted to know what he meant. The dining room looked like it belonged in a castle. High vaulted ceiling, antique chandeliers, oil paintings of somber ancestors, and one long mahogany table, set perfectly for 2. Nathaniel Quinn sat at the head, motioning for me to join him at the other end. As I walked toward him, my wet clothes clung to my skin. I felt like a trespasser in someone else's life. But the way he looked at me, hopeful, nostalgic, almost fragile, stopped me from walking away. Maybe I should have walked away. He poured wine. "Cabernet. Your favorite." "I don't even drink wine," I muttered. "You used to," he said. "Before everything." The words hung between us, thick as the storm outside. I picked at my food while he told me about the estate, the vineyard behind the woods, the restoration he was overseeing. He spoke like we'd shared this all before, like we'd planned it together. But none of it made sense. "Why do you think I'm her?" I finally asked. "This other Riley." He smiled gently. "Not her. You. You just don't remember." A beat passed. "I think you're mistaking me for someone else," I said carefully. "I came here by accident. I was driving to. He stood up so fast the chair screeched. Accident, he said, voice cracking. No. You told me you needed time, space, that the city was messing with your head again. That you'd come back when you were ready to remember. And now here you are. I pushed back from the table. This isn't right. I need to leave. You always say that, he muttered, walking to the window. Rain slammed against the glass. Then you forget me again. You always forget me. He turned to me slowly. His eyes weren't angry. They were haunted. You don't understand, he said. They've taken pieces of you. Scrambled your memory. But this place, it brings it all back. I've seen it happen before. You just need time. I shook my head. I don't know who you think I am, but... He pulled something from his coat pocket. A small, velvet box. Inside was a ring. A delicate sapphire set in gold. It looked old. And very familiar. Because I'd seen it before. In a photo. On the hand of a woman in a viral tabloid article about Nathaniel's vanished bride. The same woman who looked eerily like me. I stepped back. I'm not her. You are. I'm not. He approached slowly. You came back to me. That's all that matters. You'll remember. You have to. I ran. I sprinted through the hallways, the long corridors that all looked the same, desperate to find the front door. But it was locked. Every window barred. My phone was dead. I had no idea how far the next town was. Behind me, his voice echoed down the hall. Riley, please don't do this again. I found a small parlor and barricaded myself inside. The fireplace was cold. Books lined the shelves. One caught my eye, an old journal with a cracked leather cover. The name etched on the spine, Riley Jameson. I opened it, page after page, written in my handwriting. But I had never written these. Dreams. Memories. Nightmares. A love story or a script. A sentence on the last page made my blood run cold. If she doesn't remember by the 12th, I'll have to start over. Again. The date. Tomorrow is the 12th. The storm didn't stop all night. I barely slept, too afraid to close my eyes. The old parlor I'd locked myself in smelled like aged leather and forgotten time. My heart thudded with every creak in the floorboards above me, every howl of wind against the chimney. I read the journal until dawn, trying to make sense of it. The entries were unhinged, but not random. They documented someone's descent. My supposed descent. Entry from April 3rd. She screamed again last night. Same nightmare. The train, the fire, the crash. I've told her none of that happened. But how can I pull her back when she won't stop running? May 15th. Try the injections. Microdosing. She smiled at the painting today. That's progress. I think it's her favorite. June 11th. She said my name. Without prompting. I cried. June 12th. She left again. That last line circled and underlined in deep, angry strokes. It wasn't just a diary. It was a record. Of experiments. Manipulation. Emotional rewiring. I wasn't just a woman trapped in a mansion with a delusional man. I was part of some cycle. And today was June 12th. When the door finally creaked open in the morning, Nathaniel stood there holding coffee and fresh clothes. You didn't sleep, he said quietly. I didn't answer. He glanced at the journal in my lap. For a split second, something flickered in his eyes. Panic? Regret? I wanted to protect you from that, he said softly. Who am I? I demanded. You're Riley. You always have been. The first time we met. No, I snapped. Not the fantasy. The truth. Who am I really? Nathaniel sat across from me, surprisingly calm. I found you 2 years ago, near the edge of the woods. You were bleeding, delirious, mumbling about a wedding and a man who betrayed you. You had no ID, no memory. The doctors said you were in shock. He paused. I brought you here, tried to help you remember. Slowly, gently, and for a while it worked. I stared. That's not possible. Isn't it? He asked. You said you were Riley Jameson before you even knew your own name. That can't be coincidence. And you came back, didn't you? On the eve of the 12th again. He truly believed it. Every word. Or he wanted to believe it. But I'm not her. I never was. I was driving to crash my ex's wedding. My life was completely different. I have a career, friends, family. Do you? He asked gently. What's your sister's name? My mouth opened, closed, then stayed still. I didn't have a sister. Or did I? Panic clawed at my throat. I tried to remember my boss's face, my apartment, my phone password. Nothing came. You've done this before, Nathaniel said quietly. Every year. You try to leave. You tell yourself you're someone else. That I'm crazy. But the world out there doesn't want you. It hurt you. I'm the only one who ever tried to save you. Tears stung my eyes. Why me? He stood, walked to the window. Because you looked like her. The woman I was supposed to marry. But when I brought you here, you became more than her. You were real. You were mine. He turned slowly, face filled with something between love and obsession. I won't let you forget again. I ran again. Through hallways. Toward the old servant wing I hadn't explored yet. Doors locked. One cracked open. Inside, photos. Framed pictures of me. Over and over. Some from angles I'd never seen. Some older than I remembered being. And in the corner a door. It led downstairs. To a room lit with LED panels. Computers. Hard drives. Files. Dozens of files. All labeled with a name. Riley Jameson. Some were audio logs. Others video. I clicked on one. Nathaniel's voice. Subject shows increased aggression when removed from controlled environments. Mild sedation required before memory reprogramming. This version seems to be holding better. Recommend reinforcement of backstory within 10 days cycle. I didn't listen to the rest. I couldn't. He found me in that room. Just watched me for a while. You weren't supposed to find this yet, he said, not angry. Just sad. What am I? I whispered. You're mine, he said. And now that you remember the room, maybe this time you'll stay. I didn't scream. I smiled. I held his gaze and said, You're right. I remember now. Because I realized the only way out was to play along. At least, until I could figure out how to burn this whole mansion to the ground. I appreciate you watching till the end. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more content.